On this episode of Bantha Milk Podcast, Nick finds out that I'm a level 7 systems coordinator.
Wow, that's impressive.
It sure is.
Intro music.
Feels no good to be dead. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
The composer of our intro music does not get enough credit.
No.
For his genius. And
Yes,
his
I forget who it was, whoever that guy
body
was.
of work. But yeah, so let's get that guy.
Get that guy a bottle of bourbon.
Sure, that. But like, I was gonna go for like what do you get? Like, you know, the Tonys are for Broadway, the Oscars.
Oh, right.
are
The
for
Grammys.
film. Well,
It's a
Grammys are for music.
Yeah, but they give Grammys out also to like anybody who has an album. So
That's true.
comedians get Grammys.
That's true. That's true.
So there could be.
But I'm not
you're-
asking for that much. Even if there's like a regional podcasting,
okay, just
you know,
the
Northeastern
intro,
Regional Podcasting Intro Championships.
Northeast Regional Salesman Award.
Yes, it's literally the highest honor a Northeast Regional paper salesman can have. Anyway, it is the Bantha Milk Podcast.
Yes.
The OGs will recall we are Banter Beskar
Chicka.
and Bantha Milk, all
That's
three
right.
of those things. But we're back with the finale.
The final.
I think that's the etymological version.
right.
It's
If it
actually-
was French, it'd be finale.
right, but it's actually an Anglo-Saxon word, finale, from the Anglo-Saxon finale, which means last episode of television series.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's
Don't look that up.
Anglo-Saxon from Anglo-Saxon.
From Anglo-Sax,
Oh, okay. There you go.
Anglo-Saxia,
From Anglo-Saxia,
That's right.
the great town of
where
Anglo-Saxia.
of course Adolf Sax was from, which is
Yes.
who invented the saxophone. Yeah, all
sure.
those things.
All those things.
That is actually a true thing.
There
It
you
does
go.
sound made up, but Adolf Sax did invent the saxophone.
Well, he made it after his name. They said, "Oh,
He did, right? How like
this is my phone."
you know what else I actually learned the other day is that there's a guy who is credited with like major advancements to toilets,
Nice.
and his last name was Crapper.
Oh, that is
And that's
awesome.
and
that's
where we
the,
get the word crap from.
you're going to the crapper.
This guy is the reason
Oh
why
my
we don't have
gosh.
just poo in the streets, and now everyone calls poo his name.
Oh,
That's his
I
legacy.
don't. I mean, like that's awesome to have something that everybody talks about named after you. I don't know if I want poo named after me though.
Not me.
Nope, not me.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Skeleton Crew season finale. We're here to break it down.
we are here to break it down.
Rob has got a tall Frosty over there.
I
What
do.
You got a tall boy.
I just for this show, ladies
just
and
this
gentlemen, just this show, I didn't shave at all this week
you're
because I was
looking-
getting so much slack last week. So
Yeah, well.
it's coming in real thick. Maybe I'm gonna grow it all the way out, have it like flat bottom beard
Listen,
or
with
something like that.
the weather we've been having the last couple of weeks, I think you'd be foolish not to grow the beard.
I know
in.
exactly, and it's going to be even colder next week.
And we're supposed to get some snow.
7 degrees next
I don't
week.
like
Yes.
that. I don't like that.
I am. I didn't even realize. Victory Dirt Wolf Double IPA, 8.7% alcohol.
Last
and,
week you had a good one,
Yeah.
8% too.
Yeah, and well, that was just a single IPA. Was it 8% last week also?
It was definitely high.
Maybe that's why by the end of the show I was like,
you were
this is
silly.
nice. I'm having fun. Yeah, another pinter of this, and we've had this in the past. I bought it before, but I haven't had.
That's our homage to Filoni
To Filoni, yeah.
Yeah.
To
or
speaking
Favreau,
of
one of the
no,
two.
Filoni's the
One-
wolf guy. Yeah. Speaking of Filoni, he's. Oh, I have it somewhere that he's going to
Disneyland.
Disneyland. The Mandalorian villain from The Mandalorian and Grogu's villain, rumored to be played by Dave Filoni. This is our news segment real fast before we even get into something else,
Star Wars news.
because you jumped right into Filoni there.
I just said his name.
I know.
You really just kind of.
I did because I was like, ooh, before I forget. He was on an episode of the Christian Harloff show.
Oh, that guy, Christian Harloff.
And Embo.
Embo. What's
He's
up,
going to be
Embo?
playing Embo, who's a Kyuzo.
Kyuzo. Kyozo?
Kyozo male bounty hunter
Okay.
who was allied with multiple groups throughout the Clone Wars. He is known to wield a bowcaster along with his signature weapon, a large-rimmed circular hat. Embo's
Wait. Do you say his signature weapon is his hat?
is his circular hat. That's what it says.
Is this Kung Lao
His
from
bowcaster alongside
Mortal Kombat?
Alongside his signature weapon, comma, yeah, a large rimmed circular hat. Unless he's known to, unless there's trying to say that his bowcaster is his signature weapon,
And he also wears
he's
a hat.
also known to wear a large rimmed circular hat.
But again, it could be like a Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat
It could be,
situation. He's
that
got
his-
a large hat with a blade.
Yeah,
on the
his hat could
outside.
have a blade
He
on it.
tosses it.
Pretty
Pretty metal.
Yeah. So Dave Filoni, the wolf himself, I was when I read that he was going to be the bad guy, I was like, there's going to have to be wolves all over this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Embo is not a wolf.
Embo.
So that was a good
Click.
pop there. That was a good snap.
Yeah. Snap,
So,
crackle, pop.
Snap,
All
wow,
right.
very hoppy.
Let's see.
All
let's
right,
see
I'm
your
going to do a
work,
slow
Rob.
pour this time. So that way,
Slow and steady wins the race.
slow and steady wins the race.
Easy as she goes. Look at that. It's building. I was just narrating for the people who
Yes.
are driving their cars in the morning.
Who are just
the
hearing
beer
silence.
is gently falling into the
Yeah, there
cascading,
we go. Cascading into the glass.
And as he tips it up, just the right amount of foam.
Right. Oh,
That was
just
actually
under
very-
1 inch of foam there.
That's
That's
very
nice.
nice,
Yeah.
It's a quality bit of head you got on that beer.
That's what she said. And good pour, too.
Oh
So.
boy, I wasn't gonna go there, but here we go. Anyway,
All right.
we have our Bantha milk.
We have our Bantha milk.
We have our podcast.
We
I
have
think-
our podcast.
I think that checks everything off the list, right?
Yes.
All right, have a good day. We've
So before we get into the show, we
Oh, the
also have to
show.
do,
Okay.
yeah, we got to do that as well.
Right.
I had a question. I thought,
Oh, that was your first mistake.
I know, having a question or
Well, having a
thinking.
thought,
Yeah, don't think. Don't have questions. Originally, before this episode aired, and we could see that Jod could use a little bit of force powers and stuff.
Sure.
I was like, oh my gosh, how awesome would it be if they made it out that Jod was Broom Boy?
Broom Boy. Ah.
Yes.
But yeah, well, I guess we're not late enough in the series.
No,
For that
Broom Boy happens after him.
yet. Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, how can I tie all this together? Tie it all together. I was like, what if he is Broom Boy's dad? So that's what I'm going with.
Broom Boy Senior.
Broom Boy Senior,
Mop
Jod,
Man.
Mop Man. Jod will finally settle down in season 2 and then find a nice missus, and then they will have Broom Boy because Broom Boy.
So here's the problem with that, because you said he will finally settle down. But Broom Boy was a slave on, what was that planet with all
Child
the
who
casinos?
lived a forlorn existence working as a stable hand in the Kanto
Canto Bite,
Casino
yeah.
during the First Order Resistance War.
So if what you're saying came to pass, that would mean that Jod settled down on Canto Bite, probably using the billions of credits that he won
right.
or he stole right?
from the planet.
Found a nice lady, settled down, had
Mhm.
a kid, and then that kid somehow found his way into slavery,
Right.
which is not a happy ending, but it's possible.
So it could be just like Anakin. He, Jod, knowing Jod's impulsive behavior.
Might not be the best dad.
No, probably not a good dad. Probably lost all his money at the casino.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
sure.
wagered one last thing. His son.
Oh man, that's dark.
Yep. And
This
then
just took a dark and real turn.
Hey.
I like it.
just like Annie.
Dave, this is a verbal copyright.
Yep.
For,
You heard
for those
it here.
at Disney, right? If you want to use these storylines, you must please contact our attorney.
Yep.
First, please just let us know you're going to do so we can get an attorney.
Find an attorney.
Right.
Yeah, that will take this case.
Yeah, we'll. I think they say something about retainer.
Yes.
Right. That's a word that people use.
That is
so-
a word that lawyers have used. So here it is. I'm dating it right now. January 17th,
Yep.
2025. You heard it here first.
Yep.
Jod becomes. Did you know they named the kid later on in?
As they do.
Yes. So in the closing credits, it just said stable boy. But then years later, because they have to, they gave him the name of Temiri, Temiri,
Okay.
Blag, Blagg,
Okay.
because the kid who played him, his real name is very similar to that.
Ah, I see.
So they said, "Oh, we'll name you after yourself."
Well, I mean, even the little mouse in Skeleton Crew has a name.
Okay,
Apparently, his name is Snowball.
Snowball.
Yeah.
That's a good name. That was the name of my car.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh.
we had a white car when I was a kid. 86, 84, 85.
Those are
Something
numbers.
in the 80s. Yes, one of those. Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme.
Ooh, all right.
All white, half leather top, because that's what you had in the 80s.
Sure.
And then we got it in winter time, because then the one day my dad walked down the steps and said, "Hey, look at that giant snowball in the front yard." And then, bam,
And from then,
that
on,
was the name of the car.
Snowball. All right.
So they named
Just like what famous TV pet?
famous TV pet. Oh, Angela's cat, right?
That's
No.
one. Well, that's. I think there is a Snowball,
Yes.
but there's also isn't the dog from Simpsons Snowball or the cat?
The cat might be. The
'Cause
dog,
the dog
is Santa's little helper.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think the cat might be.
The cat might be Snowball, and then the cat died. They had another one, Snowball 2.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
think Snowball 2 was a black cat,
Yes.
so it was really funny.
Yep.
Made it even better. All right, so
Speaking of which, sorry, we need to talk Star Wars, but we're
Yes.
playing The Simpsons in my band class, and
Dun, dun, dun,
yeah, man,
dun, dun.
and I got to tell you, it's I guess it's just one of these things that you don't realize how old you get until you have these moments where like 3/4 of the kids and I like talked about it. I'm talking about like we know it's the Simpsons theme. Like use your ears. We know this song. Most of them didn't know it. Like if I asked them, how many of you, if I played this right now, you would know this was the Simpsons theme? And like 2 people raised their hand.
So
It was shocking.
I mean,
It was such a big part of pop culture when we were
right.
coming out.
And the weird thing is, it's still on.
Yeah.
Everybody that I talk to doesn't watch. It doesn't watch.
I
it
don't know
anymore.
anyone who like is a viewer a current viewer of
Yeah,
The Simpsons.
like first 10 seasons.
right.
I could
Out of
name
35?
Yeah, because it started. I was in high school, so I think it started in '89, either '89 or '90.
The years I turned 2 or 3.
Yeah, and like I remember my one friend was like, he recorded them all on his VHS.
Sure.
So I don't know. The kids these days don't know what that is either.
No, they don't.
But he's like, I have the whole first season recorded on VHS. It's going to be worth something someday. And then then they started to just sell them.
You're
and,
right. He didn't realize that was
yeah,
going to come
didn't
down
know
the
that
pike.
was coming down the pike.
I had a box set DVD of like the first couple of seasons
Yeah.
of Simpsons.
Yeah, and
Those were the Conan O'Brien years.
the Conan O'Brien, the monorail episode is
Yeah.
by far one of the best episodes
That one
of
was
all
written
time.
by
That
him.
was written by Conan O'Brien. Monorail, and then Homer, mono.
and then
Joe.
was he Plowman too?
Yeah,
I think he was
Plowman.
Plowman.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, the old episodes of The Simpsons were classic. Now,
yeah,
every once in a while, by that I mean like twice a year,
right.
I might be
Scrolling
through and see like when it's on Fox at 8:00 or whatever time it is on Sundays, and I'll stop. It'll still be funny.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
Yeah.
it's not funny anymore.
It's just
It's still funny, but
Yeah.
I guess you can't watch the same show for 35 years.
I guess not.
I guess not.
I don't know, man. I kind of miss that experience of just scrolling through the channels and finding something because I don't have cable.
Okay.
I just stream everything I
yeah,
want to
you're not
watch,
streaming everything.
and so like, which is fine. I don't mind that, but like, we had Sling for a little while,
Okay.
And I would just we didn't even get that many channels, but like I would love just flipping through. It's like, oh, look on the 80 like Buzzer, we got Buzzer, like the old game shows and stuff. Now it's just like, all right, I guess I'll watch Seinfeld again.
Yeah. Did you, speaking of the old game shows, what was the Pressure Luck? Did you see the story about Pressure Luck?
I don't think so.
About the guy who figured out how to hack the system?
No.
So I say hack, he just figured out the pattern.
Sure.
The originals,
It's like when someone hacks into someone's Facebook by knowing their password.
yeah, knowing their
That's not
password. Yeah.
hacking.
But yeah, the original, when it was in the 70s or 80s, whatever it was, it would go through like 4 cycles and then it would go back to the same ones over and over again. So he like studied it, watched it, knew when in cycle 2, when it hit this light, he knew he had to wait 3rd one and then 4th one, and then bam, he would get whatever the prize was or whatever the big number was. And they were freaking out because back then, I forget how many thousands of dollars, $50,000, $60,000, whatever it was,
money.
which normally people were winning like 500 to 1,000. Yeah. They were like, oh, there's
$500. I'm going to put an addition on my house.
Yeah. Like they were like, we're not going to pay him because he's obviously cheating somehow,
Right.
and he whatever. And then it came out that he knew the pattern. And the funniest part about it was somebody said on the staff, like, we only have 4 of these patterns going around. We can make it more than that. And they're like, no, that's good enough.
Who's going to notice?
Who's going to notice? So there we go. So that's this day in history.
Now.
All right. So before we continue on episode 8, I got our trivia.
Oh, we're up. That's right. Here
Mandalorian trivia questions for you.
Mando Triv.
Triv.
Mando
Triv.
We got to get hip, and the way you get hip is concise.
Yes.
Right? Mando Triv.
Mando Triv. Why use big
Mando
words
Triv. That's right.
when
less
words
word do trick.
Less word do trick.
Mando Triv. With Nick and
Mando
Rob.
Triv. All right. First question. Finish the iconic line. May the Force be with...
Steve.
Okay, hold on. That's not one of the answers.
Bummer.
Before you guess, I'm going to give you all 3 choices.
Sure, let's hear.
All of us, B, you, or C, me.
May the Force be with me.
May the Force be
May
with...
the Force be with you. May the Force be with all of us.
Yes.
I'm going to say D. May the Force be with Gwen Stefani.
That is the correct answer. It was a
figured it
secret answer there.
Yeah.
May the Force be with Gwen Stefani.
And
Very
it
good.
is. Always.
It always is. Okay, the 2-point question. Let's see if this one's a little harder.
Yeah.
Where does the child stay during the battle between Mando, Ahsoka Tano, and the Magistrate? Does he stay in the ship, on Tatooine, with the civilians? This one's actually, you have to remember this episode to know. This is a good question.
I can picture Ahsoka fighting with the Magistrate. I can picture Mando fighting with that dude.
That other dude, yeah, her right hand guy.
Yeah, but I'm having
Her
a hard
muscle.
time picturing what's happening with Grogu at the times, which to me leads me to think that I don't think he was on the ship. But I don't remember. I think he was with the civilians early on, like in that one episode where they're in the woods with the AT-ST attack. And what was the other option?
So, A, in the ship, B, on Tatooine, or C, with the civilians?
Oh, B on Tatooine.
Okay, so it's not a lot of fun when you're going to have to fact check the questions.
Okay.
Because the answer says C, in the ship.
Okay.
Now, in the ship was A, and C was with the civilians.
So it's one of the
It's
three. One
either
of two
on
of
the
those
ship
three.
or with the civilians.
Maybe it was on the ship with the civilians.
With the civilians. All the civilians were hiding with him on the ship, maybe.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's on me. I should have known that.
I should have also known, and so they should have known. They should have labeled this better because
Someone-
it clearly...
Some like that is a licensed product that
Yes.
is sold to millions of people.
Yep.
And someone's job was to go through all those cards and double check them.
and just make sure they're right.
And that person is still getting paid for
And they still got paid for it, even though they gave you the wrong answer.
it. Way to go, Disney.
Yeah, so I don't know. You'll have to let us know.
Yeah, look it up for us.
Let
and
us know if it's
comment down below.
in the ship or with the civilians, because it says C on the ship. Okay. The other card. Which of Grogu's needs appears to be instable?
Instable?
INSAT.
Insatiable?
Insatiable. There we go. Thank you.
You got
Which of Grogu's needs? See, now that's a tougher word than what I had last
That
week.
is definitely a tougher one. Yeah.
Which of Grogu's needs appears to be insatiable? Thirst, hunger, or emotional? So it can't be insatiable and emotional. It would have to be
Yeah, what
emotion.
kind of emotion can you not sate?
Yeah. Thirst, hunger, or emotional?
Emotion, right?
Emotion, yeah.
Insatiable. Their editor.
Yeah. This,
Is there a letter? Is there like an address for questions or comments?
I know, right?
Please
There
write.
should be.
I'm gonna write a letter to my senator.
This is
He eats things.
he eats things, so that would be
Frogs
hunger.
and,
Yes.
and like that poor freaking frog person. All of her offspring just
Yes.
chomped them down.
That is true. So hunger is the correct answer. So this is printed by Paladone Products Ltd, Apex House, Dolphin Way, Shormy-by-C, West Sussex, BN43 6NZ UK.
Blimey, it's the Brits.
So maybe in the translation from the Brits to the English,
somehow from that weird British language,
Yes.
to a good old American
it's a
English.
good old American.
You got lost in
They
translation.
get lost in translation.
Well,
So yes, the correct answer there is hunger. According to this, I don't know if that's true or not anymore. I don't know what to believe.
I don't know. I don't know what to believe.
I don't know what to
what's
believe.
true.
Yes.
I don't know if I
Okay.
can handle the truth.
I think we're all going to agree with hunger. Very good. And then the last question: what species is Ahsoka Tano? Human, Gungan, or now I'm going to say her name. This one, Trungata. What is? Because this is the one she is, which you know. Togaruto. There you go. So I gave you the answer.
Yeah,
Because
I
I,
mean,
didn't know how to say the
but,
species
like,
that she
she's-
was.
Like, it's so silly. Like, honestly, I probably would have stopped if you didn't have any. If it wasn't multiple choice, I would have been like, oh, it's either Togruta or Twi'lek, and then I would have, because she's not a Twi'lek.
She's not a Twi'lek, no.
But like, she's so not a Gungan.
No, yes, she's definitely not a
And
Gungan.
she's so not a human.
She
Like,
is not a human. She doesn't take her ears off,
no.
and she's not like, ha, I tricked you.
Misa Sokatano.
So the first two were clearly not the answer. So, yes, so we got it
Togruta,
correct.
for sure.
Troguto for sure. All right, and then last but not least, weird but true
Give me a
Star
fact.
Wars facts.
Lay it
I
on me.
realized by skimming through and doing it all like this, I'm never going to know if we got them all or not, so I'm going to start at the beginning. The first scene in every film in the Skywalker saga takes place in space.
That's right.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to open with 3 songs from Harry Potter. But before then, I'm going to do a song from Star Wars.
I love it.
Yeah. Wait,
Sing-
how are you going to open with
Sing me a song.
Sing Me a Song? You're
You're
the piano man.
That's
All right. 73 different alien species appear in the original trilogy films.
Huh.
That's a good fact.
That is a good fact.
I like that fact. And then finally,
Diversity in the 70s.
Diverse, yes. But they had to be more human diversified
That's right.
by Empire Strikes Back. They're like, you know what we are missing?
Regular old folk.
Regular old folk. We need some Billy D. Williams
That's
to
it.
come in here and help us out.
We'll make his buddy kind of an alien by putting a little robot on his head.
Yeah.
But other than that,
But other than that, yep. The grill on Rey's speeder in Star Wars The Force Awakens was inspired by sports cars from the 1920s.
oh.
So look at that and make it a little bit smaller.
That one, I see. Yeah,
And you'll
okay.
see that could be like the front of a 1920s race car.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I see that.
I see it.
All right.
Go
Good.
grease lightning, you're burning up the creature, yeah.
Grease lightning, go grease lightning. Speaking of that, the guy that had the speeder bike in episode 1 that was going to drag race Fern,
Right.
and then he was also in episode 8. His name was very similar to Harrison's Ford name
yeah,
in George Lucas's
American Graffiti?
American Graffiti,
That's right.
first movie, American
Yep.
Graffiti. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we might as well start hopping in here. Because
Well, let's take a commercial break because
But
we're
listen,
24
man,
minutes in.
I don't want to give these capitalist fat cats more of our listeners' hard.
Oh, and we didn't even talk about all of our other friends' shows either. So.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so check all them out. Check out Ears Up, the main show. Check out The Supreme Resort. Check out
Puny Pod,
Puny Pod. Check out Scraping the Vault. And check out Buena
Smartless.
Vista Boys. Smartless. Well, that's a good show.
Yeah, another of our Ears Up.
Yeah, they're on the Ears
shows,
Up
yeah.
family. Yeah, them and
We're gonna receive a cease and desist. letter.
Bad Friends.
Email.
Yeah,
That's
do
right.
you ever listen to Bad Friends?
I do. That's
Yeah,
a good
and
one.
Bad Friends also. They're also in the Ears Up averse. All right, so definitely check out Ears Up Scraping the Vault, the Supreme Resort, Puny Pod, and the Buena Vista Boys as we go into a commercial break.
You know, it's been a while since we've done it, but I got to tell you, I am 100% going to be purchasing that product and or service.
Yes, it's a good one.
I'm going to be telling all my friends and family about
Uh-huh.
that product and or service right after I share this podcast with everyone I know.
This podcast with everyone you know,
Which
please.
is Bantha Milk Podcast.
Bantham Oak. Yes, and please, if you haven't, if you're listening and you haven't given us 5 stars down there, please do that. Please rate, subscribe, check out us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on the Ears Up YouTube channel, go on over to Bantha Milk Podcast
We have
YouTube
cookies.
channel. We have cookies. You can see our faces. You can see the beard that Nick talks about all the time.
And you can see something that's, I don't know how we've gotten 29 now minutes into our live stream and haven't mentioned your outfit, Rob.
Yes, I'm wearing a Jedi robe. And
He's all blinged out.
I'm all blinged out. A friend
It's
of
not even
ours.
just a robe. You've got like a nice utility belt.
There is a
too.
utility belt. You can't see it because it's under my utility belly. It's hanging down. Yeah, a friend of ours, that a coworker of ours, he came into me and I'm not gonna be able to do a British accent off the top of my head, but you can do it, right?
Blimey!
Blimey! It's not even going to cost me
It won't even cost me 6 pence.
6 pence.
It
I
costs
don't want you to think too much into it, but I
barely
got
a spot
this.
of tea.
Just a spot of tea.
Bob's your uncle.
I was on this auction site.
This is what they do when they talk.
That's
too.
what they thought. They go,
Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. I was on this auction site. Nellis Auction is what it's called.
Nellis.
And he's like, I got this. It cost less than $2, and I had to get it and give it to you. So here you go.
Less than your morning beans and toast.
It's beans and toast. Less than your wait. What do I always get? Fish and chips. It's
Yes,
less
that's
than
right.
some fish and chips. So he was on some auction site and he saw a Jedi robe on there.
By the way, in 2025, I believe they call this cultural appropriation.
That's what they call it. All right. So, so I'm gonna put my hood up and everything. I got the whole hood. I got the whole outfit here. I didn't put the pants on it because you're not gonna see them. So
Yeah, y'all can't tell from at home, but every episode, Rob is just got boxers on.
that's right.
With his shirt up top, just like all the top anchors do.
That's all the top
He's a
ones
method
do,
actor,
and
so.
and my high top Nikes.
That's right.
That's right. So yeah, so a good friend of ours bought this for me. So thank you, Dave, for the Jedi robe. I'm going to wear it all the time.
Yeah. You just be walking the dogs around town. You're going to see on,
Yeah.
well, for the next week on TikTok. After that, who knows? where.
After yeah,
But you'll see just someone post just there's a Jedi walking.
there's a Jedi walking.
4 small dogs down our street.
That would be me. Did you hear? Screen Rant has a whole article about the new Princess Leia. I
No.
can't believe the ridiculous way Star Wars just set up its new Princess Leia replacement. Parentheses, but I love it.
Okay.
Star Wars Skeleton Crew just set up Star Wars' new Princess Leia Organa's replacement in the funniest way. Princess Leia is easily one of Star Wars' best characters, winning over audiences from the very beginning with her fierceness, compassion, and, of course, her sarcastic and witty personality. The character's future in Star Wars movies and TV shows has been uncertain for years, though following the tragic real-life death of the iconic Leia actress Carrie Fisher, there's been plenty of speculation that Star Wars may either recast the role or find characters to be Leia's stand-in. And now the stand-in may have come.
Uh-oh.
Fern's role throughout the Skeleton Crew has already suggested that she is Star Wars' new Leia replacement.
Fern, the actress.
Fern, yes.
Who plays Fern?
Not the
Interesting.
not she's not going to be
But
Leia.
Fern is going to be like the new
Princess Fern is going to be the new Princess Leia. She's going to be the new leader of the Republic, of the New Republic.
So like we're going to see more of her. In
Yes, but as
future
an adult in
installments.
future installments.
Interesting.
But
I do
one
like her character.
adorable,
It's an interesting character.
yes, but one adorable and unexpected moment in Skeleton Crew ending confirmed that Star Wars has perfectly positioned Fern to take on Leia Organa's role in the franchise moving forwards. I don't know about that. I do think she's a she has developed into a very good leader, especially in episode 8. She was bossing mom around and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the way the series is already set up, we haven't seen her in any of the Skywalker movies.
Yeah.
So there's no way that they're going to be able to
Like
squeeze her in, retcon her in.
Yeah, and you know, like I think maybe these sorts of articles get posted because people are very vocal about how they feel about, you know, Rey's character and stuff. But like, you know, if anyone's gonna like continue the Leia legacy, don't you think it would be, I don't know, the one who was trained by her?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
So yeah, so it's a cute idea, but I don't see how it's going to fit. But anyway, now let's get into episode 8. Before we do, what was your take of it?
So I watched it for the first time. What time is it? 9:30. I started at 6.
Okay.
6:30 actually. My daughter started eating dinner tonight. Just it's been a crazy week. So, and it was like on my iPad. She was watching Miss Rachel. So if I had turned that off, all hell would have broken loose in my house. And you know, it's 8 episodes. I think, you know, I missed a couple episode reviews because I was sick, but in the beginning, I think if we listen back, we can hear that I'm like trepidatious.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
This is
I was in from the beginning.
this is
You were more
perhaps my favorite season finale of a Star Wars show since the Luke Skywalker like hallway scene episode.
Okay, of The Mandalorian.
And this is not even to say that there was any moments like that were that epic,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't know. It just the way it didn't feel like 35 minutes of setup for next season.
Right.
It felt like we just told a story and we're finishing that story.
Yeah.
You know, and they left the door open so that, sure, there's plenty of story left to be told. But like, and you know, the one thing you had said, it was like this big 80s sort of ending. And it totally was. It was like this, the whole episode was just this 80s montage. It reminded me of like one of the Stranger Things
Yep.
finales, or else like, you know, just like,
Or
you know,
like the Goonies ending, or even E.T. ending. Like it was all like good science fiction 80s movies.
Yep.
I was going to say television,
And
but
it's-
movies. Yeah.
it's the most, it's not the best Star Wars I have seen in a while, but it's the most fun Star Wars I've seen in a while.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'll take fun Star Wars over serious Star Wars any day if it's good.
Right.
So I am definitely much more appreciative of the show on this end of the season than I was at the beginning of the season. I mean, that's just with any of these. I mean, our culture is so like, you know, release them all so I can binge watch them, and I'm just, you know, when I have to wait, you never know. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to say that it was perfect. I still have my issues with, you know, length of episodes and stuff like that.
Right.
But no, I thought they ended it really strong.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I actually have watched it 3 times now.
Okay.
It was very interesting because it comes out on Tuesday, 9:00. I was sitting at the TV waiting. Disney Plus on the PlayStation. I hit play, spinning wheel. I was like, "Oh no, they're gonna Netflix Mike Tyson fight me on this here.
Oh,
like
God.
this is bad." Turn it off, restarted it, still spinning wheel. So I was like, "All right, well, let me see if on my phone it's doing the same thing." My phone starts right up. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I can watch it on my little screen, but not the
on
big
one.
TV."
Great.
So I started watching on there. Then 5 minutes in, I like paused it. I turned the PlayStation back on. Finally, it came up, and then I watched the rest of it there. And then today, came home, and I went to the gym. I'm trying to lose
Biggest
all this.
Loser back on?
It's not, but I'm trying to do it on my own. I'm really good when the Biggest Loser is going. When it's not going, I'm really bad.
You're the Biggest Loser in my heart.
Oh, thank you. That's
got
the nicest thing you could ever say to me. So I was like, I'm gonna do this without
mean-
The Biggest Loser.
I mean, Rob, we're two middle-aged men in a basement talking about Star Wars, and you're wearing a Jedi robe.
and I'm wearing a Jedi robe. I mean, it
There's
doesn't
not-
get any
we're-
doesn't get any more loserish than that.
Let's just be real about what we're doing.
Yeah,
right
all I
now.
need is some tape on my
That's it.
glasses. Did I do that?
Yeah.
We didn't hear that at all. I was very
That's
disappointed.
it. Yeah,
Uh,
I know. Honestly,
Yeah. But so I'm at the gym and I'm watching it, and then I was like, oh, I need to watch it again to write down all the notes. So then right before you came over, I watched it a third time just to get all the notes down because I like to not miss anything, especially with the finale. I did a good job of doing it for the first 7 episodes. I'm like, I'm not going to drop the ball now. So then I watched it a third time just to write down the notes. I didn't need to watch it a third time if I wasn't jotting down the notes, but it was still an excellent ending. It was a lot of fun. Like you said, I would watch fun Star Wars over serious Star Wars as long as the fun Star Wars is well written. This was very well written. This was very well acted, except for one character, I think. Everybody else, I think, did a phenomenal job.
which character?
Wim's dad.
Yeah, he wasn't the most impressive.
No, Wim, as Trey said, when we get to the scene where they're at home cooking,
Right.
Wim acted circles around his dad.
Cooking.
Yes.
Microwaved him like a
Yeah, the 80s
Hungry
TV
man.
dinners. Yeah. It was awesome. But yeah, Wim totally acted circles around him, and whatever. But other than that one character, I thought everybody else did a great job. I thought everybody was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that these were the best Star Wars kids we have seen.
Yeah, I mean, Leia
Little
was pretty
Leia was
good.
good.
Yeah, I
Little
liked
Leia
her.
was good.
but I mean, there haven't been many other ones. But the ones certainly not the kids we saw in the Acolyte.
No.
I mean, certainly not little Anakin.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
And even little Anakin's friends were just as bad.
Oh, they were worse.
They were worse.
They were the
Hey.
ones who didn't get the Anakin role.
Yeah.
It's like all like the like 2nd through 5th place. They were
Uh-huh.
like, all right, we're just gonna put you in Alienware, and you just like say terrible lines in the back.
Hey, Annie, what's that wrench for? Oh, come on. So yeah, so I felt that, and that was one of our big fears coming into this
Oh, yeah.
season was that how good are the kids going to be?
Yep,
Because the
we've been complaining
stranger,
about that for years.
yeah,
with
the Stranger Things,
Yeah, that's the one.
Stranger Things kids,
they set the bar.
they set the bar up really high. So
Yeah, I guess now we know what the key to success when you're casting kids in roles is just have it based on the 80s.
yeah. If it's
The
based
80s
on
were
the
the
80s,
time. Goonies, Stranger Things, Skeleton Crew.
what was it? Well, the Goonies took place in the 80s.
Sure.
So,
I
but
mean,
what's the Goldbergs?
The Goldbergs.
Goldbergs, yeah, that kid is good also. So, yeah. So, all right. So, I loved it. I loved all 8 episodes. Next week, we'll have to try and rank all 8 episodes, see which one is 1
I'm gonna
through
have to
8.
take this week to actually like do a rewatch.
Yeah.
with clear, fresh eyes now.
Yeah, to try and figure out which one is the best and which is the worst. But I still think this is a very highly rated. It's going to be tough to find like which one is bad because I don't think that there were many. Maybe episode 3 or 4 somewhere
The
in
one with
that area.
the Kid Army.
Yeah, the Kid Army was that
That
was
was
like
I remember that one had
that was-
good moments, but
it
it was
had-
like a pacing issue.
yeah,
Like,
and it was more like heartfelt because that was when you really learned a lot about
the
Neil.
characters. Yeah,
Yeah, big character building for Neil there. So I don't know, but I thought it was great.
Take us for a ride, Rob. Where do we
So
start?
let's go. We start off right where we left off at the end of last episode with Jod.
Right, and so this was, and I forget where I read something about this, but this was like a very Flash Gordon-y sort of a
Okay,
thing here.
like the
Where-
serials of the Flash Gordon serials.
where we're left at the end of an episode with like this really gripping and death-defying. How will they get out of it? And then within like the first minute of the next episode, they're out of it.
They're out of
They're
it.
gonna do
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah. And that's what they did. Jod, and I liked his little flick of when he closed his lightsaber. He did
Yep.
this little flick, which I'm sure was somebody else did that. I think Dooku did that a little bit, maybe. I think it was
See,
his
what I'm
forms
getting-
were very Dooku-ish.
What I'm getting out of like his mannerisms and the way he was acting with the lightsaber, especially after we learn kind of his background later on,
Okay.
is that like, he's not trained. Like
Right.
he's a little trained, but he's
Yeah.
not trained. So like it's all bravado. And
Yeah.
it's all show.
It's all show.
Like he, think about like he wasn't trained by a Jedi. He was trained by a Jedi on the run.
Yeah.
So, like,
and we don't know really how long they were together.
All we know is they were together long enough that, clearly they recognized that this kid could use the Force, and they started talking to him about how to use it
Right.
and control it. But even with that, like we've seen throughout the series, it's not like he's had a huge control over the Force.
No.
He does like the magic trick part of the Force.
Yes.
So
And he obviously had used her lightsaber a little bit. He has
Right.
trained with it a little bit, but not a lot because he wasn't able to.
he at the very least knew what it was when he saw it.
He knew what it
you know
was.
I mean?
Yeah, he knew how to use it, but he wasn't the best at it because he took a couple of stun shots there.
Yeah,
and
he was able to deflect some of the when he did that, I was like, all right, so like probably someone without the Force and like just a regular Joe Schmo would not have quick enough reflexes
Yeah, to be able to fight
catch
that
some
off.
of these. So
So we families are left Job, and now Jod looks like he's the good guy. Hey, I'm just the emissary here. I just want to, I'm just here to get the money, and then I can go. And then Fern starts talking back to him, and he's like, "Okay, you know what?
You come with me.
You're gonna come with me to
We're going to the
go see the
principal's office.
supervisor. We're going to the principal's
young
office."
lady.
And you could see the mom was like, "Oh yeah, we're going to the supervisors. Nobody ever gets to go see the supervisor." So it was fun watching her play it up. Like,
I mean, I just kind of love that, like the whole like direction of this show is your parents are idiots. They don't know anything.
they were so brainwashed, and it was a
And
very
even when we learned later on about the supervisor, they're all like, "Yeah, you would have found out when you graduated."
when you graduated. Yeah,
everyone
it's
knows.
all right. No, yeah. But yeah, it was a very communist society in that way where money didn't mean anything. Everybody had all the same stuff. Everybody did their job. Everybody did their parts, and it was
What was it, the Great Works?
the great works.
And so that's a callback to the New Republic
Right.
stuff with Lena So. Lena So is the Chancellor. I'm sorry, it's not the New Republic, the old the High Republic. Lena So was the Chancellor during the High Republic, and she like enacted all the like her vision of the great works that they could do, and like creating of Starlight Beacon, which was this space station that like was supposed to be like a it could be anywhere in the galaxy and provide aid and provide
Yeah, it was like a
medicine.
giant medical
Yeah.
station. Yeah.
Which then had a fairly tragic end.
Yes.
But like
By the what were they called?
the Nile.
The Nile.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like again, like, and I looked into this, and that is an intentional kind of nod back to Lena So's great work, which makes sense considering they were the sheltered planet, so they probably are still operating under these procedures created
Yes.
by that time period.
Yes. And so we learn that the planet was created. Not the planet was created, but the society on the planet was created hundreds of years ago.
Right.
Thousands of years ago during that old Republic or whatever High Republic,
yeah.
High Republic era. But as the High Republic fell and we went to the regular Republic, they were. He said on Screen Crush, he was like, "Yeah, they probably just used the same frequency to get their story out there, because you do hear he does say that the Jedi were traitors,
Yeah,
which
so
was like one of the last things before the Republic dies and becomes the Empire.
Right.
And then when they switch the Empire, you're going to change all your signal stations and all that stuff because you don't want people listening in
AM
on
to
you.
FM.
Yeah, so that's why they stopped getting messages that late into it, because when you're just evolving, you're not going to change things like that. But when you're overtaking it, then you will change stuff. So that's also getting ahead of us. But yes, no one knows who the supervisor is. Wim's dad. Then next scene they cut to Wim's dad cooking his 1980s Hungry Man TV dinners.
I got to tell you, man, Hungry Mans were my jam.
I remember as a kid, I used to love, because I could put them in, we had a toaster oven. You could put them in the toaster oven.
Yeah. When I was in college, my mother would like send me to college with, grocery bags full of Hungry Man's. Just the
Okay.
the boneless chicken fried chicken breast.
Now, did you cook them in the microwave? Were they the microwave ones
They
at the
were,
time?
but like I had there was a common hall down in the first floor of my
Okay.
dorm, so I'd bring them down there and I'd throw them in the oven.
Okay.
So these are like the fried chicken with the brownie and the corn and the mashed potatoes.
Yeah. So
I could still eat those.
before those, they had them in aluminum foil
Sure.
pans, and those are the ones you would cook in the toaster. And then they were evolving.
Salisbury steak. and
Salisbury
stuff like
steak,
that,
yeah. I remember then microwaving the ones in the plastic containers or the cardboard containers, and like the fried chicken, microwaved fried chicken. It just has this weird texture to it, but you know what? It was 7 minutes and I was eating, so
Yep.
I didn't really care. I was, 18, 20, whatever, and I'm just like, whatever.
Doesn't even matter.
Doesn't even matter. All right, so
And then he goes, "It's nice to have a home cooked meal, right?"
have a home cooked meal, which was a TV dinner.
Yep.
Yeah.
But honestly, again, that like totally scans for like 1980s
Yep.
nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Like,
100%.
I mean, again, I only spent a couple years in the 80s that I don't remember.
right.
But to me, the 80s and the 90s share a lot of just any pre-internet era really shares a lot of some of these.
Yeah, there was
experiences.
evolution to it.
Yeah.
But the 80s one, like I said, they were in the toaster oven or in the stove. The 90s ones then were in the microwave. But it was all those Hungry Man TV dinners, and they were awesome. And even like Swanson
Oh, the
frozen,
Swansons, right, yeah.
frozen fish and all that stuff.
And
whatever.
was Swanson the one with the mac and cheese, or that's
Mac and-
Stouffer's?
Stouffer's.
mac and cheese.
Yeah,
That's-
they were
that's good
awesome.
stuff.
So they're cooking this, and this is where, like I said, Wim is acting circles around his dad. Wim is like, Dad, there are people out there who don't want to do the right thing because the robot's staring at him, and the dad's just like, oh, but Wim, just, you'll have your thing tomorrow.
Yeah, you got your exams.
You have your exams tomorrow. And he's like, oh, look at me. So bro,
Get on my level. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, look at
me. I'm trying to get you to look at me without the droid noticing. So then,
Thank God Jod stabs the guy in the eye.
I know, right?
Saves
So
the day.
the kid, they're watching the droid. All right, not picking up. I said he's not picking. The dad's not picking up what Wim's putting down.
No.
Then we go back to the meeting at the supervisor. Meeting the supervisor at your age? No one has met the supervisor at this age.
Yeah, Mom is like just saw herself and her daughter be threatened by a stranger with a light sword, and all she can think about is the possible career advancement for her daughter.
Yes, that they're. Oh my gosh, we're both gonna get advanced so high. This is gonna be amazing.
As Ron Weasley might say, she's got to sort out her priorities.
She sure does. Because
Or
then we
worse, expelled.
Then we cut right away. Wim calling Neil on the walkie-talkie, and
Yeah, which by the way is like just a straight up 1980s walkie-talkie.
100%.
Like it's not even
I
like they
had
tried
that
to Star Wars
walkie-talkie
it.
in the
They just
80s,
like
yeah.
went to
No.
the store, like the hobby shop, and were like, "Give me your clunkiest
1980s
with
walkie,
extendable,
the metal
yeah.
extendable antenna. Yup. 100%.
They might as well have had a talk boy.
They could
From
have
Home Alone.
Yes. But it was so good. And Neil's too scared to talk. I can't. The robots are watching. He'll tell Jod. So then the robot comes in and says, communication, no communication. Who are you talking to?
And then he has his Spaceballs moment
Yes.
where he's Dark Helmet playing with his toys.
Playing with his toys.
He's like, "Oh, we gotta save him." It was really good.
And this is when he says Princess Fern,
That's
which is
right,
where
yeah.
they said, oh, she's the new Princess Leia. So I also said, are Wim and his dad a Jedi? And I have 3 times that I can prove to you that his dad is, in fact, a Jedi.
A Jedi, I doubt. Force sensitive, okay, but go ahead.
Okay, so when we get there, I'll let you know when we
Okay.
go through all those. So then they go into the supervisor's room. It's empty for a very long time. There's dust everywhere.
Yeah, it's like every surface looks like the ceiling fan in my bedroom.
Yes.
Which, by the
Yes.
way, if you haven't looked at the ceiling fan in your bedroom in a while,
Oh,
don't do
I
it.
just cleaned ours
Don't do
off.
it.
It is the scariest
the
thing
worst.
ever. It is
And
so
I'm like
bad.
sneezing, like, why
Uh-huh.
are my allergies
Yes,
so bad?
that's why. And then the supervisor looks like Hal.
Yeah, like, first of all, weird looking droid. We don't see giant droids. In Star Wars
No,
much.
and this was a giant droid.
like a hive mind, sort of like a mega computer sort
Yes.
of dealie.
And fun fact about HAL from 2000: A Space
Sure.
Odyssey. Do you know what HAL stands for?
Human ape leopard.
Okay, you're very close.
I figured.
It is one letter down from IBM.
Oh, so like I said,
Yes,
Human
just
a-
like you said,
human
human
ape
ape
leopard.
leopard. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm sure
Interesting.
they turned that into some kind of an acronym.
sure.
I think it was human ape leopard.
Yeah,
I'm not
probably.
positive, but I'm
I
pretty
can't
sure.
imagine what else it would be.
If there's nothing else it could be.
How many
Um,
words could there possibly
No,
be in the English
just
language?
like
to serve
nothing
those
rhymes with
letters?
fire truck. No, so it's like whatever. But yes, so they did that because they were saying IBM is getting so big at the time in the 80s. IBM, I don't know if you know what that is, but those what was
Yes,
one of
I
the
know-
original
I
computers.
know what IBM
yes,
is, yes.
IBM. So they made it HAL, one letter down from
Interesting.
IBM. Yes, so there
Megan
we go.
actually had part-time like temp work. She worked for IBM.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, out in Central PA.
Oh, very good.
Data entry stuff.
Data entry stuff, a lot of fun stuff.
Anyway,
So what did I write? I have been he says to them, I've been looking over you. I've been watching over you. That's what he says.
yeah. This random, like, enormous, non-bodied droid
Yes.
knows these people by looking at them.
By looking at them.
So like it is this really sinister Big Brother sort of like.
yeah.
All right, so the supervisor, and it's interesting because you had mentioned last time that like there's this theory, all these theories about the supervisor being a droid or being SM-33, and like it was a droid, and it was totally not a big deal, and that's what made it so interesting.
Yes.
Is that like it was a droid, and everyone was like, whatever.
Yeah. It's just a droid.
And like we knew that, whatever.
Yeah.
And so,
But I still don't think. I don't think the mom has ever. I don't think they know. I don't think they know that it was a droid.
But she even said like when they found out it was a droid, and Jod said a droid. She said like, yeah, that's what it says. It has to be in the Great Work or in the.
Oh,
so she does
okay.
recognize that she knew.
yeah.
So, but like again, I think what's the most sinister thing about it is if you think about it. All right, so all these robots are enforcing the will of this droid.
Yes.
This droid is so like, who programmed the droid?
Right. Whoever was in charge of the Great Works from thousands of years
So,
ago.
I don't know. Like I feel like
And I think if the droid was watching, all of those robots with the eyeball are all going back to Hal, to the
Right.
giant droid.
Yeah,
And that's
so-
how he's like he's watching everybody all the time.
right.
Like almost like the one Batman
It's
where
like the Borg. Like it's not
Yeah.
even like those are
Yeah.
just robots. That is him.
that is him.
You know,
They are
yeah.
all part of him.
You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
That's right.
Not a lot of maybe this is the wrong crowd for a Star Trek reference, but
I liked when Picard became part of the Borg. I saw that. I know.
man.
I know what you're talking about.
TNG.
I'm down
Deep
with you.
Space Nine was actually my jam when I was a kid. My
Oh,
parents
really?
watched Deep Space Nine. I loved it.
I liked Deep Space Nine. I liked the Next Generation was what I was really.
My parents watched both,
Yeah.
but I liked Deep Space Nine. Less high stakes. It was more.
Yeah,
soap
because it was
opera-y.
just like it was very simple. It was just like old life on a space station.
Yep.
Where at least Next Generation they were going around and
doing stuff.
Yeah. All right. So supervisor looks like how Jod says he's the emissary and a Jedi. Oh, by the way, that I've been watching over you. Palpatine said that to young Anakin. You have a future. I've been watching over you. And then Hal says you are a Jedi or an emissary. You got the last message that the Jedi were all bad.
Hal called him out on his BS.
He
right
did.
away.
He was like, "Which one are you lying about?"
He said, and I think I quote, "Cap."
Cap. That is what he said. I
He
heard
said
him say that.
Cap. Yeah.
And then, of course, Princess Fern shouts out, "He's a pirate. He's not a Jedi."
Yo ho, you pirate. Yeah.
Yep. And then
And he literally, I think that the computer says, "That's what I thought."
that's what I thought. And then he tells them to attack. They start shooting him. And he's like, "I've had enough blocking your stun bolts. I'm going to poke you in the eye."
Yeah, and it's funny because they've specifically like established in this show that not all creatures keep their brain in their head.
Right.
Like I think there's several times where like an alien is shot in their head and they get back up as like, oh my god, right? Because not all. So like here is this enormous robot that like controls this planet, who just happens to keep its brain right behind its very fragile eye.
Very fragile eye, and very easily you can just poke
right-
him in the
right
eye.
in there.
Yeah. Speaking of fragile robots, I was earlier this week. I was rewatching Empire Strikes Back, and when C-3PO was
C-3PO is a fragile robot.
he is a very fragile robot. When he was being annoying on the ship, Leia did the
Yeah,
little switch behind his neck
they've
here
all got switches there.
that
guys.
we saw Jod do to 7 robots in the one scene.
Yep.
So that was
must be
a
standard issue. It's like an EPA guideline, like
Yeah,
a safety feature.
safety feature. Every robot has to have an on-off switch.
And they
right
all have a
behind their neck.
tag on that on-off switch that says not to be removed except by user under penalty of
Under
law.
penalty of law. Yeah, you don't want to get arrested for taking that tag off.
Essentially a mattress tag.
Yep. And then apparently the whole city is powered by this one droid.
Apparently,
Apparently,
you ever seen
yeah.
the Apparently kid?
Apparently, this is the first time
First
I've ever
time
been
I've
on
ever
the
been on the
news.
news.
And apparently, I'm really good at it. So the whole city's apparently powered by the supervisor. His eye gets plucked out. He dies. All the droids die. The entire city goes out. Barrier override. Jod pushes the button. These fancy handles come up to destroy the barrier, the outer shell, which also, getting to the end of the show.
Well, no, doesn't it first that I thought first he allowed, like he sent them the codes, right? First he sent the ship the codes to get through the barrier.
Right, but he pushed that button, that barrier override button. Then he was going to pull the handle down, and that's
And
when
then
the mom
said,
says,
"No, don't do that."
Don't do that. I'll give you the codes
Right,
to let
right,
him
right,
through. So then she was so afraid to pull the handle down and let the barrier go down that she was willing to give him the codes. I said the people are so brainwashed about their society that they have to be protected by this outer rim.
Well, I think that was one of the themes of this show is that, like, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, no matter what happens, like, as time goes on, you can't protect your kids from everything. You can't
Right.
protect your friends, right? Like, that, you know,
Yeah.
even if you try and you think you've got everything, trouble's going to find them. at some point, you know,
Trouble's going to
so.
find you no matter what. So then Jod he says, I'm just going to take our fill of credits and go. And Fern calls him out again, and he pulls a lightsaber on her. And he says, shut this kid up.
Yeah, but like, again, I like what they did with Jod. You know, they kind of told us a little bit about his backstory. Clearly, he was discovered by escaped Jedi after Order 66, and he's like, you know, like we talked about, like how there's these two diverging paths of like what we thought maybe he was going to get this redemption story, and he's not. But they set him up where it's, I think, an even more interesting redemption story if it happens, because there's so much, you know, he actually got pissed at like Wim, like when he mentioned good guys versus bad guys, and he was like, he was trying to say there is no such thing as the good guys or the bad guys.
Yeah.
And again, that gray area is what Star Wars has started exploring more of.
Yeah. Because his Jedi teacher was a good guy,
right?
Who then got killed by the good guys.
Right.
So that's why he's like, no, the good guys are the bad guys.
Yep. And so his experience has made him cynical, which you can't really fault him for.
No,
you know,
no,
like,
not at all. Yeah.
But it also, you know, like it clearly, you know, he even says like, I don't want to hurt anyone. Like,
yeah.
He is like, he's morally ambiguous, but he's gray. He's real.
Very gray. Yeah.
You know, like,
and you see the internal battle in this episode,
right.
Because I didn't even want this. Didn't have to go this way.
Yeah. When what's her KB, when the ship went down and they all, of course she didn't die.
Right. There was no explosion. Yes. We're jumping all over the place, but that's okay.
That's how it goes. But like, you know, you could see he's upset. Like he doesn't like, you know, he's glad to be rid of some of these kids, but like he has enough like humanity in him. It's not like he's like a Sith and has been consumed by the dark side.
Right.
He still has that humanity to know that these are kids, and he
Yeah,
doesn't,
and he's like,
he
I
wants
don't-
what he wants, but doesn't want to kill the kids. about it.
And it was a little weird because he was like, I just want to take my money and go.
right.
And then later on, he was like, when he even like spoke to the whole planet or to the whole city, he was like,
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. You will now work for me. So it's like the 1,139 chambers of gold wasn't enough for you. You need more than that. Like,
Never. Will it be enough?
when will it be enough?
for
That's
him?
right. So I wrote Wim's dad is so weak. They go back to Wim and his dad. He says, we have to save the day.
Until he just decides to deck the dude.
I know. He says, no, we will just run and hide. Wim's like, no, I'm not going to hide. And number one, how he's a Jedi. Order 66 comes. He's about the same age as Jod.
Sure.
So he had to go run and hide because he didn't want anybody to know that he was a Jedi.
Okay.
So there's step one, why he's
Okay.
like a Jedi. Wim and his friends grab the hover bikes and take off to save the day, just like an ET. So this part was fun because it was the kids' bikes worked.
Yep.
All the Wim's dad's trying to start the car. It's not working. I don't know what's going on. And then Wim's like, see you, Dad.
Yeah, our bikes are off the grid.
Our
yeah.
bikes are off the grid. And we saw that in the very first episode when you saw all the other cars were traveling on that
Yep.
metal, the third rail in the road. And then we saw Fern go off and go through the woods.
That same exact spot they go off.
that
of
same
here.
spot they go off today. Yeah.
Reminds me of iRobot. You remember the Will
Uh-huh.
Smith movie
Yeah.
where it's like everything's electric, and then like you get off the grid, they get on a motorcycle that's powered by gas. and the woman's
Gasoline
like,
powered. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is gas powered.
Yeah,
we're gonna
or-
get on this.
Was it iRobot also when Will Smith also was driving the Audi and he put it into auto mode where he was driving the car himself? That was a different
Was
one.
that Men in Black?
No, it wasn't Men in Black. It was another whatever. But I remember the cars all drove themselves.
I think it was iRobot.
Okay, and he was like, "No, I need to drive it," because he was able to like drive all over the place because they were programmed. Whatever. So Wim says, "No, we have to go save her," and the dad says, "No, no hover bikes, no hover bikes." He was so whiny. So we find out how to save the day. Bird Lady and this is the kids. They're tell you the whole plot of the story, the whole plot of the finale in 4 sentences. All right, we need to go get the X-Wings. They're the good guys. KB's like, oh, Bird Lady knows how to get the X-Wings.
Right.
So all we have to do, fly the ship up outside of the barrier, call Bird Lady, tell her to get the X-Wings. The X-Wings will come down and save the day. The end.
Boom.
Boom.
And that's what happens.
And that's an easy story.
There we are. We have spoken. Have a
We
good
have
night, y'all.
spoken. Have a good night. The kids, once again, the kids saved the day. When the dad was chasing them, no hover bikes. I so wanted him to be running with just his hands behind his back. Like, I don't know if you watched the Goldbergs, but Barry Goldberg, the older brother, when he always ran, he would run with just his arms behind his back, very awkwardly and very, like, stupidly.
Okay.
I so wanted him to just, because he was playing such a whiny character, I just wanted to not know how to run also.
But no, apparently he decked that high school
Yeah,
bully
and then
and stole
he's-
his bike.
And so suddenly, Howie's Jedi number 2.
Okay.
He goes up and he looks at the kid, and then the next thing you see, kids, you got to sleep. He's on the bike. So he clearly didn't offer the guy credits and say,
Maybe he
can I
went,
please borrow this?
This is not the bike you're looking for.
Maybe that's what he did. He did that, or he just knocked him out or something. But
We cut back post-credit scene. It's just like we pan over to a body on the floor with a burn scorch of a lightsaber, hilt
lightsaber
through them.
right
It's
through
like,
his
oh,
eyeball.
man.
Yeah,
He's
that's
the
how
real
he
big
did it.
bad. Apparently, the dad is the big bad all along.
Yep. And then so they're going through the woods. Great
Yeah.
speeder bike chase scene.
Yeah, it looked fast.
It looked
It
fast.
looked like they went over 7 miles per hour.
They did. It was very impressive. Very much like the kids riding the bikes in E.T. But
That's the sort of scene when I was a kid. If I saw that, I would have wanted to be that kid.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you also, if you live near woods, you would be making a trail for you to ride your bike through
Yeah.
and figuring out how to get some kind of a ramp in there so that you could try and jump.
And amazingly, through all of this, at the tender age of like 10 or 12, not caring even a little bit about ticks.
Nope, not even a little bit. Or I remember one time at the campground, We were walking out of the woods, and there was a wasp nest in the ground. I first come running. I'm like, because I'm getting stung. I don't know what's happening. And then I get like 10 feet away. I fall down on the ground. I start rolling or something like that. My friends are like, what's going on? And then my brother or somebody else after me, they started attacking this person too. So then he comes running out. And I was like, were you getting stung by bees or were you just making fun of me? He goes, no, I was also getting stung by bees. So, yeah, but walked in and out of that part of the woods 100 times and never got stung by bees before.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you're 10 years old and you think, ooh, running through the underbrush would be so much fun.
So much fun.
And now I'm an adult and the first thing that pops in my head is, oh my God, I'd have to run home and check every inch of my
for
body.
Ticks, poison ivy, have to get in the shower, wash everything off because you never know.
This is how it happens.
This is how it happens. You start to think about things.
Yep.
So then as they're talking about jumping over the cliff, just like in E.T., the dad says,
I'm heavier than you.
But I'm heavier than you.
Which is interesting because it's like, it was very clearly to me a line they put in to like say like, hey, Dad, we're kids. We get it, but you need to trust us.
You need to trust
but
us.
Like it was, again, sometimes in this series, for all its good things, they're a little heavy-handed on like, this is how you should feel right now.
That's right. You should be very sad now. Yeah. But then it looked, maybe it was just the angles, but I felt like he was behind them. He did a little bit of a trick in the air. He kind of kicked out the back wheel when he was in the air.
Wasn't that right when he went, woo?
Yeah. And then he lands. He goes, yay!
He did didn't ollie.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, so that's another thing that made me think that he was a Jedi. So then they go chasing through the school because they have to go through the school to get to the ship.
And every 80s kid especially, but every kid's dream, the school gets destroyed.
Yeah, destroying the school, riding your bike through it at nighttime. It was awesome. Neil gets shot off. He says, keep going. I'm going to find the cannon that might be on top of the building, on top of the roof.
Which we actually did see earlier in the series.
Yes.
So
yes.
Talking about Chekhov's gun, that was Chekhov's giant
laser cannon, yeah. So they make it to the ship, and now somehow, this was a little confusing also. As they were flying by, maybe because the ship was now fully loaded, they couldn't put any more gold in it, so they took it all the way to the top. But it was all the way at the top of that tunnel that it went into.
Right.
Like when he landed, that platform went way down, 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 down. When they got there, because they rode up the ramp and then up the ramp into the ship. So somehow at this point, it was raised all the way to the top. But then they go and get in, and those retaining bolts that we talked about last episode.
You called it last time. You're like, we're gonna see those again.
We're gonna see those again. Couldn't take it off. And then this is when Dad comes to the hero.
I'm
a level 7 system coordinator. I can take care of it. Bitch. I said all he needed was a cape to suddenly appear and be like waving in the wind behind him. He was like, get the bike, let's go. Yep. And now suddenly he becomes like Batman riding on the bike, weaving in and out through the California water river runoff area there.
It's like, this is my moment.
This is my moment.
I was born for this moment.
The ship's shooting bullets at him. He's able to elude them because of his Peter Tingle.
His Peter Tingle.
He's eluding all the bullets and everything like that.
He is the one.
And then they're getting closer. The pirates, as they're happening, the pirates are checking in with Jod. Mom's having a breakdown at this point.
She is really not keeping her stuff together.
No, she was not keeping her stuff together. Fern, being a leader, shows Mom that she was telling her there's everywhere we went, no matter how bad it was, there were still good people out there.
I liked the sentiment behind that.
Yeah.
Fern, the actress who plays Fern, bless her heart, she's a little intense with her facial expressions.
Right. But it was good.
Yeah, she's good. But like when she has her like I'm a teenager and I'm defiant face on, she's just like this. She's very interesting.
So then she's people that can help. So then she sets a plan. She's telling the mom, here's what we're gonna do. 5 feet away from Jod. Like they were as far away from each other as you and I were. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, You got to be a little bit, hey, like cover your mouth
Which is
or
why
something.
which is why I like they included Jod just shooting next
Just
to him.
shooting them. He's like,
Guys,
shut up. I can hear
I'm
you.
right here.
I'm right here. So then, and at this point, we see Neil's dad.
First of all, we need to keep going because this is a long episode. But I need to point out that we did not mention the fact that we saw Neil in the tub.
Neil in the tub.
Like in the bathtub.
In the bathtub.
And by the way, when you live in a society where flying vehicles are a norm, maybe a skylight right above the bathtub is not what you put in.
Not a good idea. Kind of like living in New Jersey. You don't, when the drones are flying
No.
over top
Yeah.
of you, you don't want a skylight in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Anyway,
So then Dad and Wim are in another bike chase. Wim shows him the tower, tells him he call. Oh, they get to the tower. He goes to the top. And this is very fun. This is Wim using his creativity,
his
imagination. He says, we call the X-Wings.
And we have the control
We have the
crystal.
yes, the crystal in the mountain.
That's right.
Yes. From
we found the ancient artifact
ancient
of
founders,
One-Eyed Willie.
One-Eyed Willie, yeah. He's telling him a story about the Jedi. Unfortunately, he doesn't know the Jedi were all killed.
Right.
So,
No, but we're still in control.
Yeah, no.
And really all it is just a stall tactic, which is like,
which was a good stall tactic.
yeah, and like Jod like humorously like was like playing along and was like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah,
like,
like,
what are you talking about?
what are you
But he
talking
doesn't
about?
even realize that he's playing right into
Uh-huh.
it. And, all of
And
a
then the
sudden,
dad,
like,
with his
presses
level
4
7,
buttons.
he knows, look, when you're a level 7 system coordinator, you know which
level
4
6
buttons.
coordinators are like 2 buttons max.
Yeah, they're not allowed those buttons.
Yeah.
They're 2 levels down.
Yep.
But he knows what buttons to push, and he starts all the power up again. And that's when
I noticed none of the robots started up again. I was expecting all the robots
to come
kick
back up.
in.
Yeah, no, I guess, I don't know. Like, interesting.
This is only for the clamps.
Only for the clamps.
Only clamp power.
And eventually, at the very, very end, you see that some of the city lights start to turn
Right.
back on
Yep.
again. But yeah, so he knew that button handles the clamp and the power to that area. Fern tries to get the gun. Jod attacks her, says, "Do not do that again." Then the ship takes off. And this was a funny scene. The mom is like, "How are you flying that?" She says, "I have some help," and she's holding 33's head.
Yep.
And as we always know, because C-3PO was in about 9 pieces,
Yep.
that, droids are never dead. You can just put those wires back together
That's
again, and they'll be fine. So 33 is helping him fly. The plane goes all the way through the clouds, kind of like the original Batman when he goes all the way up, and then it tilts back down and goes back down again.
Yep.
That was fun. And then she's able to call
Owl lady.
Owl Lady because Neil,
It's the Tootsie Pop owl.
the Tootsie Pop Owl, she said, "I'll
He's
send
still out
somebody."
there on a different planet trying to figure out how many licks it takes to
Yeah,
get sent.
I was gonna say she said, and it's 3.
Yeah,
by
a
the way.
1, a 2,
A 2,
a 3.
3. And Neil shoots the main cannon. He says, "It works.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be up here." And then the ship turns towards him, and he's like,
Oh, boy,
boy. Jod says, "You don't know what you have done," and it was a fun moment for me because he was like, "Oh, now that you open this up, now that you got out there, all these other people are going to come. They're going to find out about my gold." And he was more mad that he was going to lose all his gold, I think, and that his plan is now over. He's like, "Oh." Calls the New Republic, and she has a hyperspace lane right to them. She then gets shot as she's going up there. Katie's going down. 33's flying it with Katie's trying to repair it. This is cute with the mom. The mom says, "You can fix anything, baby." And then the ship goes down, but as we said earlier, no explosion.
You see a little smoke.
A little smoke. Big reaction from everybody because they don't know the story in Star Wars that if there's no explosion,
They don't get it. Yeah.
nobody died. So Fern and Wim are sad. Jod is mad. He said they can't get through the barrier. Fern that can destroy the barrier. Fern tried to destroy the barrier, but they're not destroying the barrier. They're just disabling it. If you noticed, when they pull the handle, the little domey things don't blow up.
They just turn off.
They just turn off. So I think in season 2 will be Fern turning it back on.
All right.
And now we're back into rebuilding our thing. So it's same thing without the explosion. There was no explosions. It was just the barrier turning off. So I feel that they can get that back again. Who is it? Screen Crush said he was very happy that it was 12-year-old kids who saved the day because George Lucas in an original interview in the 70s, he said Star Wars is made for 12-year-old kids because 12-year-old kids are more creative than adults are. So this was like a whole homage to George Lucas in 12. Then they're saying to Jod, "You're no Jedi. You lied." And he says, "Now the real good guys are coming." And this is when Jod's like, "No one's coming to save you." And then this is where we find Jod's backstory that we went over about 2 or 3 times already. Order 66, all that good stuff. And the same thing about the pinpricks of light. And I will kill whoever I need to get those pinpricks of light again. So he's talking about those little times that he had some good moments in his life.
Right.
He could have had a great time here if he would have came differently and said, "I found your kids, give me a reward."
Right.
They would have been like, here's a whole bunch of credits. How about this? And he would have been like, "That's perfect." And then here's another scene where Wim's dad is a Jedi. Wim's dad punches Jod, knocks him down. Jod's holding him back. They're all trying to get to the thing. Wim's dad is able to get there first. He's able to resist Jod's force powers.
Yeah, he's like trying to break his fingers.
He's trying to break his fingers with the force. He's able to resist it. Wim was holding on to the lightsaber. Jod was trying to use the force to get the lightsaber. Wim was able to hold him back. Both have force powers. Ooh.
I can see it.
Maybe. And then the mom comes over. She puts her hand on top of Wim's dad's hand, and
as we all know from whenever in the 80s you did this, whoever gets the head on top, they win.
They win. And not only that, they're now officially married.
That's it. That's right.
That's because there's no Fern's dad anywhere.
That's true.
And we know Wim's mom is dead, so I think season 2 starts with a marriage between Wim's dad and Fern's mom.
Love it.
It'd be awesome. It'd be like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
And then the two of them get together, and it'll be even more awkward.
Lady.
Yep.
That's right.
Who was living on at Aden all by herself.
Oh, that was nice. I like
Thank
that.
you. They pull the handle. John knows he's beaten, and Wim turns on the lightsaber.
Yeah, he actually had it right side up.
The correct way.
Good for him.
But did you see he did?
He checked.
He did look.
He definitely checked. When I saw him check, I was like, attaboy. That's how you do it.
First time in Star Wars that you see somebody actually look first before they open it up.
Yep.
That was pretty funny. The shield comes down. They see the stars.
Yeah, that was nice.
Everybody's like, ooh.
It reminds me of here, honestly, because like I looked up when I got to your house today.
Okay.
This was after watching. I was like, oh, you can actually see the stars. But like I lived in Illinois.
Okay.
Normal Illinois was the
Normal
town.
Illinois.
You look up at the sky there, and like we have 99% of stuff is better out here than it is in normal Illinois.
Okay.
Sorry. But
Sorry.
you look up at the sky, it is breathtaking.
In Illinois?
When you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like that,
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? We're just too close to Philly here.
Yeah, there's too much ground light here. Even at the campground, when I went to the campground in the middle of Pennsylvania, just because there was, if you're at the campground during the week when there was no other campers there, it was like 12 people in the campground, and you just laid or stood in the middle of the field at nighttime, oh, it was beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, so as long as you don't have any extra light around.
Or a giant green dome.
Or a giant green dome, gas green dome.
Gas dome.
Yeah. So they all go into the elevator, and Jod is left to see his destruction. The big ship of the pirates crashes in the river. I was really expecting a post-credit scene.
Yeah, honestly, when it ended, I giggled a little, and Pagan, I was watching on my iPad, and Pagan was next to me because she hasn't really been watching, so she wanted, and she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Nothing, just it ended."
It ended.
That was it, and I took my mouse and I pushed it towards the end to see the little preview. I'm like, "No, that's it."
Yeah, I watched the credits twice because I was like, maybe I missed something.
Yeah.
Like, did I blink and miss something?
Which again, in our culture, I guess, is so surprising to not have that. and almost like disappointing until you think about it and you go, no, I like it because they didn't need to tease us. They finished,
they finished
a story.
it. Mm-hmm.
And if they have another story, they will make it work, but they don't have to like leave this story unfinished,
Right.
in order to entice us back.
Yes. It was like, this is the end. That's it.
The anti-Marvel approach.
It was, yeah. And honestly, like, I don't think before Marvel anybody ever did like post-credit scenes.
I think it was almost never until
Yeah.
Marvel, and now it's almost like I find myself, and I haven't gone to the movies in a while, but almost every time I go to a movie, I'll just take out my phone. It's like, is there a post-credit
Yeah,
scene?
Trey wanted to watch Sonic 3. It was fun.
I hear all the Sonic movies are good.
Yeah, so we went to see it. It was fun, and then he's like, "All right, let's go." And I was like, "Well, is there a post-credit scene?" He was like, "Yeah, but it's lame." There was actually 2 post-credit scenes. We watched them in the car ride on the way home.
Yeah.
Like YouTube has the
Yep.
post-credit scenes. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
So then they all get into the elevator. They run all the way over to where Katie's ship crashes, and surprise! It's not blown up. It's just stuck in the ceiling.
And I guess she's just been laying on the hatch on top of Gold for about 45 minutes
Yes.
while this happened.
While this
and
happened,
then they walk in and it just opens, and she
just perfectly timing
falls out, hangs out for like 20 seconds for suspense,
for suspense.
and then
yeah.
just wakes up and goes, "Did we win?"
Did we win?
Yes, we won. End.
The end.
Like that was like
Yeah.
really, honestly, that was like the end.
But there was a good line though. The dad said, "You don't want to have a great adventure like this just to get crushed at the end." And then Wim, you don't. Oh, and then Wim standing there, and you see the Rebel blockade runner come in also.
Right.
And Wim staring up at it. Oh, he says you don't have to take your. I guess you don't have to take your assessment now because
Right.
that was the assessment
school.
building, the school
Yep.
that was all blown up. So you see Wim staring at the Rebel blockade runner. So you know he's going to want to get off the planet onto the good guy ship now.
Now that he knows who
Because-
the real good side.
Yes, because he's been hanging
Wait,
out with
the
these
real good guys. That's the name of the episode.
Hey, what a surprise! So that's how it ends, and then credits, and no post-credit scene because it's not Marvel.
That's right.
So I loved it. I loved the series. It was a fun series.
Yeah, fun is something Star Wars has been missing for some time. You know, like Book of Boba Fett.
Not
I don't
fun.
think it was fun. Acolyte, I would not classify as fun.
No,
Mando, I would classify as fun in spot. And again, it doesn't have to always be fun. Like
Right.
Andor was not fun. It was
Andor,
a great show.
Andor was a great show.
it
not
was
fun.
It was harrowing. Like you know,
Yes.
you felt anxious.
Mhm.
But like this was fun. It
Yeah.
was, like it just
This was fun, entertaining, suspenseful, like just quality entertainment, which made it a lot of fun because you didn't need to see a Skywalker.
right.
You know, you just were having fun knowing that this was a great adventure with a lot of Star Wars stuff in it. Even the fact that the main character, Jod, was dressed like a pirate
Right.
and not really like a Star Wars character made it even more fun.
Yep.
So yeah, so it was a good time. So I loved it. I loved the whole series. I definitely want to watch it again. And I guess next week we can try to do ranking of the 8 episodes. But I think it's going to be ranked from like good to great.
Yeah.
So, and they're all going to be pretty tough in there. So
Yep.
there we go. So
Yeah, that's it, man. So catch us on the social medias. Check out our friends on all the other platforms. Comment below if you have questions or you'd like answered for next week.
yep.
Catch all of our we have 200 episodes. That's crazy. We have a lot of episodes.
Lot of episodes.
Catch our back catalog. And yeah, we'll come back at you next week with a breakdown of the whole season.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
But meanwhile, from here at Panther Milk headquarters, Rob's beard has spoken.
It has spoken.